Yeah, almost the weekend, nice. So yeah, my name is Ugo, or more accurately, Ugochukwu Ezeji. I want you guys to give it a try. Ugochukwu. Okay, Ezeji. Okay, cool. Oh, that's a good try, guys. That was a good try. I like that. So yeah, I'm Nigerian, Igbo, so that, you know, in Nigeria we've got like 200 tribes. So obviously our names are hella long, but they all have their meaning to them, which you guys will kind of see as we go along. So yeah, I've been doing poetry, I've been writing like, you know, in the little closet since I was like primary school. Only really started showing it like sixth form and then properly performed from university. And so the first poem I'm gonna do is it's one of the first ones that I kind of wrote, one of the first ones that I performed. But you know, life is an interesting one, and it's like, life is kind of like a sum of moments. And so, you know, we're gonna go through like a little journey of realization, a little couple of moments in my life and made me realize something. And so hopefully it will, you know, you guys learn something from me, maybe give you guys a different perspective. So this first one is called Moments. And I've got my phone just in case, just in case. So some I've written, some I've old, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, can you guys hear me fine, or do I need a mic? Yeah?
You're good.
Okay, beautiful. Moments. Moments when you realize that we've taken 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. Change so minuscule, sometimes you ask, what's the point? I mean, we've got human rights, but that only passed to qualify that you, me, and the BME are humans, right? Lincoln freed the slaves. So what does that mean for the day that I was born? Does it take law to qualify me to be free? Or does that just come with being a human being? Those moments when you realize that Black History Month is just there to remind me that my history has been neglected and thrown away. What about my future? I mean, most of us put more time into finding out a new Halloween outfit than to learn one new thing. Someone has looked at me and said, racism is dead. I mean, it's because they've changed the words they said. I mean, you can call me a nigger any day. If you can take this target off my back, that's when I'm walking in somewhere and people start holding their stuff tighter. That won't be stopped and asked, where's the drugs? Man's only on his way home. If you meet those, then yeah, you can call me a nigger. Because if that's all you can say now to try and offend me, it's actually kind of funny. Don't you know that I graduated from singing, rain, rain, go away, to remembering to take my umbrella? But see, sometimes I turn cold, a bit cynical and slightly political. I can't even get angry at these institutions. I mean, I wasn't even being considered when they wrote the constitutions. I mean, yeah, later on they came out and said I was 3/5 of a human being. I could go into a zoo before I could go to school. They could drop money on the floor and call me a bandingo and expect me to prize fight. The same man who said all men are created equal had slaves at home. Our lands, people, resources being exploited. And when we make it over here, they open their teeth to say we'll get deported. Someone has looked at me and said, Rodney King was ahead of his time. When Harambe and Seal the Lion gets more tears. I can't even lie, I don't even look at these videos anymore because it's like someone brings out a phone and says, do it for the vine. Because I'm not surprised. It's almost like it's for Banks. But for every video we see, imagine the ones we don't. In a country where they say guns are legal, legal for whom? Because I've seen white guys on the news freely forming militias, walking around mosques with their AK and an arsenal back, protecting whom from what? But a black guy with his girl in his car is a different situation. Someone could be walking down, chilling at home, going to class, getting the train, or even just looking for air to breathe. See, I don't like mentioning names because it seems like they become punchlines. And just like police tape, they're ever ready. It's out of respect, but you know who they are. We should love our fellow man. Love. Is love truly blind if all our issues come down to black or white? It's sad that this has become our situation. This has become our reality. But honestly, I'm not trying to make you angry. I just want us to come as a family and think. If a tree falls in the middle of the forest and no one's there, does it truly make a sound? And if we have to ask, has things changed? I mean, if you have to ask, I guess things are still fucked. Now, I apologize for swearing, but it does seem that when they hit our vulgarity, that's when they start to consider our humanity. When NWA was saying fuck the police, because they're actually getting fucked by the police. When even a hashtag can cause an uproar and be remixed into Blue, Live, or All, or even a Harambe. Fucking Harambe. I'm not saying that animal's life is not worth anything, but I just want to know what level you put my name on before you speak. Me, I'm all about love and peace, but this nonsense has to cease. I've seen that glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel, hope for change. But I do feel that we may have taken our 3 steps forward, and with Brexit and Trump, it might be time for us to go back. But that's for you to decide. I know I've spoken about a lot of things in the air, all this pollution, but hopefully our generation can find a solution. Thank you. Thank you guys. So yeah, that was my first piece called Moments. And I think it was 2016, so this was around the time, you know, Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, all that kind of stuff. It's funny that Serena was talking around like, 2020 seemed like it was the first time, but I remember the times of hands up, don't shoot. And so it just comes in swings and roundabouts, and so sometimes you ask yourself, has things changed? But you know, to some extent you consider where we were and where we are, and so sometimes you say there's progress, but sometimes you also see that we're pulling back, and so it's just about kind of pushing forward. But coming, you know, a couple of years later, then I found myself writing about another moment, which is, you know, recent memory to all of us, and hopefully I can remember all this one in my head as well. And it's titled Another Moment, and so this one will be, this one everyone should recognize. It's around 2020 I wrote this, and it's called Another Moment. So let me just quickly, just in case. You know, you don't want to mess up the flow, you know. All right. I used to understand that people go on their knees to pray, not to block someone's airways. I can't breathe is now a catchphrase synonymous with RIP. Officer, my hands are up. Officer, please. All over the world, I keep looking for light at the end of the tunnel, where it seems hard, and found this tunnel is too damn long. All over the world, they're mourning and singing songs, when all these families want is their sons. Jogging, running, getting tased in front of their kids, just chilling, spat in the face, where it's safe. "12 seconds, 15 seconds, gone. Time longer than it takes to write my name. Yes, my name is long, but I want to make sure my life is longer. But now we're in lockdown, we're in a fight for our lives, the fight to survive. The human race versus COVID-19, our invisible enemy COVID-19 versus the human race. So obviously we'll put our beefs to one place, to the side, put it to one place, come together, you know, stay home, save lives, stay safe. Ooh. But apparently, Black people are 4 times more likely to get COVID, especially in the front line. Doesn't make sense. How come the minorities always reap the majority of every atrocity? But that is a question for the authorities. And now for the moment, we thought we only had to fight our invisible opponents. You know, get the hand sanitizer, stay 2 meters away. But human beings, we forgot that it's a handicap match. Oh shit, oh yeah, I'm black. You see, when one of us does something, we're treated as a collective. But when a cop or a Karen does something, it's their own personal perspective. It's just a bad apple. Well, how many bad apples until it's a bad bunch? I mean, this is messed up. This has to stop. In a society where calling the cops and stressing, he's African American, he's black. That's an important fact. Woo-woo, I'm just watching birds. I'm more scared of you, because if this is not recorded, I'm already guilty. I look for hope every day, but it becomes an ever-ending battle. Will tomorrow be better? I want to say yes, but today is tomorrow's yesterday, so no time to waste. Seize the day. The time to make change is now, and you might be the one to bring it. Ignorance used to be so bliss. The truth is, they're not killing more or harassing more. They're just filming more. I'm tired of these moments. Thank you. So obviously, I'll be remiss to say that that's going to be the last moment. I was hoping it would be, but probably more is going to come. But it's different perspectives. Like we're a long way away, quote unquote, from Rodney King's time, just as a collective, and not just in terms of like how people are experiencing their things in the West, but also in other parts of the world. So sometimes when we're looking for change, it can be hard to find hope. It can be hard to see things changing because it's easy to kind of like see what's wrong. But then sometimes you need a little bit of appreciation of where you are, because it's like you look at the news and there's nobody that just said, oh, somebody saved a child down the road. Or so you don't hear good works. Now if you turn on the news and you're only consuming that, life can be bleak, and your perception of life kind of goes based on what you focus on. If I tell you to just think about looking at red cars, you're going to miss the black cars. If I tell you to focus on white cars, it's the same thing. So realizing that how we view the world and trying to find ourselves in a balanced way so that we can appreciate that we are pushing to some extent and making some change, though it may be slow as we may want it, but we just gotta keep pushing. So this one is called, like obviously my name is Ugochukwu Ezeji. So obviously as being in the UK and similar to what Serena was talking about, Black, British, I'm also African, Nigerian of heritage, born in the UK, spent some time in Nigeria. So I have appreciation for both cultures, from Tottenham, support Arsenal. So I'm looking at here, so we're doing very well right now, guys. So this one is called, it's a short one, and I'll let it kind of speak for itself. This one's called I'm African, but. I'm African, but I'm Black. When white people say Africa, they think of it as one country united in its struggles. Africa looks pretty united, yeah? When Ghana got their independence, the president envisioned an United States of Africa to dispel the white man's meddling. So much so that he helped found the Organization of African Unity. Here in the West, we preach strength in diversity and one in unity. But when you break it down, unity means that we're a unit. But at the end, everyone asks, why? Can't our humanity just breed our unity? When I bleed red. I mean, unless yours is different. And orange can be orange, but orange can also be green. So how can my pigment be my definition? I was once called colored, but I always remained the same. But you, white man, I've seen you old, sick, in the sun and happy. You always changed. So unless you're colorblind, what's the actual definition of a color guide? To Black people, you're viewed as ice. Cold, hard, and unchanged. Well, unless we raise the temperature. Funny. As if there's no such thing as black ice. As if the days of slavery only came from white hands. Ooh, that yin to yang. It looks like we are connected in something. Tragedy. I look to the north of the Africa thought to be connected. In countries like Morocco, we are discriminated for being Black, or should I say darker. Or in countries like Libya, where there's still slaves today, I look at Africa, just ashamed. Funny enough, Libya and Gaddafi were also pushing for that United States of Africa. The constant prevalence of discrimination, yes, some is due to misinformation, but after all the outcries and petitions, that's when I realized I am African, but I'm Black. Thank you. So I'm almost done. So just taking you guys on a little journey. So obviously, I don't know if you guys know, because obviously slavery and what modern slavery is and all those kind of things. There's actually more slaves people in slavery today than there actually was during slave times. So as much as we've made progress, in some places we've regressed. And that's in different places, whether that be in Africa, in the Middle East, even like, you see on the news popping up about people in like dungeons in a random place in the UK. And so it actually is kind of prevalent. And so it's interesting even how far we've come, as a race being something that kind of divides us, when, ultimately we're all kind of one race. Even when they say we all came from Africa, somehow like, even in Asia, the caste system, dark skin to some extent, or just different, is kind of something that, we found reasons, like I was saying, focus, we found reasons to divide ourselves in ways that's really unproductive for all of us. I mean, realistically, like Brexit happened, all the people went back to EU, and then the fuel price went up. It's like, oh, where's all the drivers? You know, I thought the Polish people were taking my jobs. I just didn't realize they were doing the ones that we didn't want to do. So we all kind of need each other. And so race is an interesting something, but this next one I'm talking about here, so like race is an interesting thing, especially when it comes to in identity of individuals. And I'm gonna go to my phone because this one I wrote recently, but I haven't got it fully in my head. Like race is an interesting thing, and identity in general is an interesting thing, because ultimately this, you know, when people have been discriminated or excluded for their identity, then to some extent people now cling very much more to their identity because they want to belong somewhere in a community that they feel accepted. Hence, you know, tribalism comes in naturally, and it makes it harder for us to come together and kind of work together. But you know, when I look at identity, and it's like you can break us down in different facets and whatnot. Like we're speaking about intersectionality, and there's places where, you know, the experiences, to some extent, there's nuances, but you know, like, you know, you can really go, let's say, on the economic plane. If you're broke, you got broke problems. It's not necessarily like white broke problems or black broke problems. Maybe, you know, you might get beans and toast, you might get Indomie. It's different solutions to the broke problems. But ultimately, what we all have, fundamentally, when we come down to our like identity, is our name. And our name and our fingerprint are two things that are pretty much unique to yourself. You know, there's 7 billion people in the world, but nobody, even twins, nobody has the same fingerprint as you. Like, you know, James Bond movie, they have to, like, you know, cut it off for them to do it. Nobody has the same thing. Your name is unique to you. And obviously that's the reason why, for me, I tried to get you guys to say my full name, because obviously we shorten it for ease. You know, if I'm ordering Nando's, I don't really need 5 syllables going on. I'm hungry. So, but yeah, so your name is an important thing. And so like this one is just a poem around that, around yourselves, being yourselves, but understanding, like, you know, sometimes groupthink is not always the best way, because you want to belong, so sometimes you just join the group but then lose your individuality. And so it's an interesting place we've come to, where that being something that people are battling with, to belong or to be themselves. And so, you know, yeah, your name is an important thing. So a name is something so sweet. So don't play around with it like it's something cheap. It's precious. You're precious and unique. Well, in your own way. Names are cemented in your legacy, and you define your name. So better pronounce it like you're writing, like a spelling bee. Don't compromise it to make it easier. See, my name is Ugochukwu Ezeji. When people try to say my name, it almost looks like they've got a lisp. Looking closely, like its name's. When people try to say my name, it's almost like they've got a lisp. Looking closely, like, is this name supposed to be on this list? Confused, who's this? Is someone trying to play tricks? Because of my preconceptions, won't let this pass. This is what they call unconscious bias. It's made Indeed change the way they process CVs, the blind screen. You see, oh, dreams. Oh, one day a man will be judged by the contents of his heart and not by the color of his skin. So don't judge the book by its cover. But in truth, we all do. That's why we invest so much in the cover. So hopefully you open the book, read the chapters. But in ads, in PR, we portray ourselves of who we want to be. But people will see us for what they want. Remember, people don't remember what you say, but how you made them feel. So feel the vibe, don't project it. When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. You see, you want people to be themselves, but approach it with stealth. Some things need to be kept on that shelf. Come on, dress up, conform, present yourself. When you say come to work and be you, people are confused. Look at this loop, the catch-22. Funny that we're in year 22, the clash between uniformity and individuality. We're peas in a pod, but pay respects to every pea. You know, take 1p from a million person, well, you're not broke, but you ain't no millionaire. So 1p makes a difference. Cherish your name and respect others. So my name means eagle of God or messenger of God. But to be honest, that doesn't really matter. My name will come down to what I make it. Again, my name is Ugochukwu Ezeji. And in my legacy, you remember me for what I did, but you will never forget how I made you feel. Thank you. Thank you guys. Everyone's been riding with me? Everyone's good? Okay, cool. I've got one more. And obviously, it's interesting that we're talking about obviously sickle cell and stuff like that. And obviously being Nigerian, I've gone to Nigeria, I have friends who have sickle cell, I've had friends that have gone to hospital, I've had, you know, people kind of collapse and everything like that. So it is something that affects people, but ultimately at the same time, we're talking about Black History Month, and to some extent, sometimes, similar like I said in the first poem, sometimes I have like a love-hate relationship with Black History Month sometimes, because it's like, you know, it's good, because sometimes it's good to highlight, because to some extent, I've been having random conversations. So obviously I work at Heathrow, I'm also involved in ED&I, and so obviously, you know, I don't, you know, when we're talking about like, you know, education and informing people, I don't blame, let's say, quote unquote, white people or even African people, or Black people, or people in diaspora, because sometimes the same challenges white people are coming to understand about the culture, people in diaspora are trying to do the same challenge on their own culture. And so, you know, like our history obviously is not necessarily relegated to, you know, some people can just, you know, summarize it like all they learned in school was slavery and Martin Luther King. It's like, you know, there was people before them, there'll be people after them, and there's people that's kind of contributed to all our lives. But ultimately, at the same time, the thing that we can kind of unite the world is that there's struggle, there's trauma, everyone has their kind of race that they're running, and everybody, like you said, is got, you know, something that they're dealing with. And so ultimately in this life, it's like finding hope is an important thing. And obviously when we get tribal, sometimes it can negate that, yes, we're trying to remove the chains off of our own life, but try not to put chains on other people. Like, you know, so it makes it easier life for all of us to hopefully see a better tomorrow than we saw today. So this last one is called Light. So it's actually ironic that I wrote this, because it wasn't until I was coming to this that I kind of mixed it all together. A lot of my poems you hear like, oh, light at the end of the tunnel, light at the end of the tunnel, cool. And then I randomly wrote a poem, it's called Light, and then it's like, oh, I didn't even think about it. But so this one's called Light. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy. Oh yeah, RSVP. So obviously, Rap Songs Vibes Phone. So I started an open mic in Reading. So obviously I'm big on terms of like getting people to, you know, both in terms of the mentorship scheme and the RSVP. I'm all about getting people to kind of express themselves, be the best version of themselves. I've never seen a talentless person. I've never seen one. I've seen people that have not maybe tried their best to kind of seek their potential and stuff like that, but then I've never seen somebody that didn't have talents. I've never seen somebody that, you know, doesn't have a bright spot or something that's special about them. You know, you sit with somebody that says, oh, there's nothing. Some people even right now in their heads are like, oh, there's nothing really special about me. You sit with somebody for 5 minutes, just listen. You're like, okay, all right, dude, you're interested. Oh, look at this, look at that. And you don't even realize it. So yeah, so we're big on trying to get people to like perform. I think we've been doing this since like June, and in terms of the mentorship scheme, we've been doing that since 2018, when it goes like schools, youth clubs, on YouTube, everything, to kind of teach people in general. It started with kids because it's easier to get to them, but life skills like financial literacy, you know, public speaking, leadership skills, all that kind of stuff. Just, you know, when you come out of uni, you realize your degree just opened the key to the door, but it's not really what you need to kind of like survive the working world realistically. Like, it's like getting your driver's license. Like after you pass is when you start to learn how to drive. It's kind of like that. So this is called Light. Yeah, hope you enjoy. If you know me, you've never heard me talk about that light at the end of the tunnel. I like to talk about hope. I back it up with a smile on my face, so you know it ain't a joke. Calm, collected, satisfied, because I open my eyes. Where's the light? We're right here. Life's the tunnel. So when you're tunnel vision, you're looking at life as if it's just a day, getting deeper into missing the light that's in your face, getting deeper into the dark, that song can play. Do you see the light? Or are you sitting there wondering, how can the light be me? I'm just here listening to poetry, G. As for light, me, I can't see it. I'm tired, I've cried, and I'm wondering what's the point of our lives. You're part of the puzzle, and every step you take, the earth knows. It's not a question of if we're free, but when, because you're heaven sent. So keep doing you, keep pushing on your purpose. That's light to me. Still don't believe it? Okay, let me set the scene. We're our ancestors' wildest dreams. I may not remember their names, but he or she lives in me, and they probably felt like you, but everything they did came through. So everything we do today is just preparations for the next generations. I mean, I don't remember everyone who sacrificed for my salvation, but I hope they're reaping the fruits of their labor. And even though future generations may not remember me, I can take solace to know that my descendants will definitely be free. Don't forget, We were free before the chains, and we'll be free again. So when you're looking for hope, looking for light, just turn to your neighbor and know that if we keep on moving, we'll be all right. Yeah. So yeah, guys, that's the end of the film. My name is